Now, today we are going to be looking at how to motivate our learners and how to maintain our learners' interest throughout online sessions. But we're going to look at some top 10 tips that I have applied in my classes, and I do think that they worked, which can also be taken into face-to-face classes. Fingers and toes crossed. We don't know. We may be going back to classes soon, or maybe the latest by September, but somehow we're going to be going back. So today's agenda, we are going to be looking at different ideas together. Before we look at today's agenda, I would like to start with a quotation that I like from Chris Grosser, because the quotation goes as, opportunities don't happen, you create them. Now, the kids are learners, either primary, either secondary, although we're going to be talking about primary and secondary, but think about high school and university students as well. They may not be able to see those opportunities around them, that learning moment. So what happens is, it falls onto us. We need to be able to create that environment for them so that they can actually see the opportunities. So today, I can see that some of you are from Izmir, but if you are not from Izmir, it's a bit of windy. And unfortunately in Izmir, as we all know, when it's windy, we may have some difficulties. So if something happens, please don't panic, don't worry. Just stretch your legs, walk around, I'll just come back. And if you happen to freeze, just come back to the session, okay? Now, today's agenda, we're going to look at motivation to see how interest comes up. We're going to look at the factors affecting learning motivation, how we can encourage our learners to participate in online lessons. And these ideas are going to be also valuable that we can take back into classroom as well. Okay, so let's start with the chat box. Okay, before we look at a clear-cut definition, what do you think motivation is? Let's all go to the chat box. If you want to turn on your microphone and speak, you are also welcome to do that. Okay, so how could you complete my statement? Like, motivation is, I know it sounds like that gum, love is. Let me check the chat box as well. I think I can't see the chat box. Can you see it, Tumeirajam? Let me stop sharing my screen. Okay, now I can see it. Okay, so any ideas about motivation is, oh, utopia. So you think that Alper Hocam, it's not going to be there. Oktay Hocam says an urge to do something. So if you have an urge to do something, you feel motivated. Energizing ourselves, definitely. Thank you, Aylin Hocam, and nice to see you. Super is the power of hope. Okay, I like that as well. It's passion. Okay, so if we are urged to do something, if we are energized, if we have motivation, we have the hope. Working as a team, definitely it's willingness, excitement to learn. So all of these things that you say, like we always need, it describes why a person does something, are the keywords that we need to put into our classrooms as well. Okay, being able to do or learn something. Definitely. Now, the definition, okay, by book says that it's a force or drive that influences behaviors to achieve a desired outcome. Now, in our cases, because we are in the classroom, the drive or the forces that influence our behavior are going to be the tasks, the activities, and the projects that we are going to be using in the classroom, okay? And the desired outcome, obviously, is going to be the learning outcome. So how can we help our learners become eager and motivated so that they are going to go to the learning outcome? Now, there are especially two types of factors that affect motivating. And in the chat box, I am going to give you a hint. One of them starts with I, okay, and the other one starts with E. What do you think they are? So the first one is that motivation, and the other one is, thank you, Oktay Hocam. So we have intrinsic motivation, okay? So this is actually what we aim for. And thank you, Ahmet Hocam. Nice to see you as well. Ahmet Hocam is one of my oldest friends, okay? So an intrinsic motivation is the part where you put in the chat box. Everything that you put, that willingness, that eagerness, that urge, that excitement, that interest, that hope, this all falls into this category, okay? And also we need to talk about sense of achievement. Now, when it comes to English language classes, it's sometimes easy for younger ones to shut down. Like, I can't do it. they're done. So this sense of achievement plays an important role in their learning process. When they feel that they can do it, they want to do more, and they feel intrinsically motivated. Curiosity is another issue, not only for primary, secondary, high school, and university, but for everyone. When you are curious about something, when you are curious to learn about something, you are more motivated. Now, think about it from yourselves, your own lives. How about this? You want to stalk someone on social media. Now you're curious, and then you're motivated to find that person, and you do not stop until you get that, okay? Or you have a big question like, how can I cook this? So a curiosity always arouses our motivation. Interest, as you all said, if we are interested in finding about something, if we are interested in a topic, in an activity, then we do it. So let's say that if I make this session uninteresting, then I'm going to feel that, you guys are not going to be here. And also pride. Now, as Oktay Hocam and Ahmet Hocam said, the other factor affecting motivation widely is extrinsic motivation. So one of them is money, not for the younger ones for the moment, but money and career could play an important role, especially as the levels go up, because they start thinking about career. And I sometimes hear students talking about, if I do this job, I'll earn lots of money. Grades at the moment play an important role in their lives because they want to get good grades, okay? Your valuable feedback and your praise when done necessarily plays a huge importance in the learning process as well, and exams, unfortunately, okay? So what we try to do as ELT teachers is the one on the left. So we want to hit the left part. Why? Because we know that motivating learners will come from active learning strategies. These are the methods that involve learner participation. So when they are involved, when they're on their toes, okay, so they know that they're going to be involved, they're going to be a part of something, they're going to feel a part of the whole. So, and they're going to be engaged with the material, but in a meaningful way. So sometimes I used to find myself saying like, okay, can you just read this text and come to class? How meaningful is that? So when I reflect back, I have to say sorry to all of my students in the past, because read the text and come to class is nothing meaningful. Or, write a paragraph about this is not really meaningful. So I have to find ways to make it meaningful so that they engage more. Okay, so there should be different activities so they are actively involved. So when you look at the brain itself, everything enters the brain from the spinal cord, okay? And the limbic system is where all the feelings are. So this is where we want to hit. Now, a question for you, let's go to the chat box again. When I ask you to remember a teacher from the past, okay, what do you remember most about that teacher? So think about you yourself as a student. This can be kindergarten, primary, secondary, high school, university, MA, okay, courses that you have taken. But what do you remember about that teacher? Like when you think about, I remember this teacher because of what? Let me give you an example. When I go back to my own teaching, I remember my primary school teacher who was really motivating because helped me, guided me, scaffolded me, wanted me to feel successful. Alper Hocam says that making jokes, definitely, because they get interested in what you are saying. Manners, definitely. Oktay Hocam. I also remember my MA teacher who helped me and made me feel good about what I was doing. So Gülşen Hocam remembers that this person was beautiful, inspiring, definitely. Relatable examples, I do agree with you. Personalization is very important. Knowledge. So students are truly affected and motivated by our knowledge. If the teacher is knowledgeable, they trust us, because sense of trust is going to be very important, okay? Ayul Hocam says that real stories, definitely. When we ask our learners to personalize something, we are actually entering their own world, their life. They're opening up their own houses, their minds, their emotions. So the same way, in terms of respect, goes both ways. We should be able to share our own experiences with them. Thank you for all of these. And strict rules, Ayul Hocam says. I do think that students like the rules. It makes it more easier for them. Okay, teachers who make us think out of the box, the ones who made us feel ordinary. Okay, but we also remember the worst one, definitely Rukiye Hocam, because once again, it hits your limbic system. So you either remember the ones that you really motivated you or maybe demotivated you. And we want to be in the category who motivated us. So agrees or disagrees, okay? You can either turn on your camera and use your thumbs for this activity, okay? Or the chat box. The option is on you, okay? So you can choose. So the learners need to be actively involved in the lessons, but the key point is both in async lessons and sync lessons. So we need to make sure that they're actively involved in our online lessons. You know, they're participating in the chat box, but also in async lessons, which is the offline time. Agree or disagree? Agree. I can see lots of these there. Okay, so they have to be actively involved. Great. Number 2, as teachers, we need to provide resources. Agree, disagree? Agree, agree, okay? If I change this sentence a little bit, would your idea change? We should be the only party providing resources. I think Ahmet Hocam, this is what you were going to say, and Aylin Hocam was going to say this as well, right? So learners may also, yes, not the only ones. So yes, we need to provide resources, but learners should also be providing resources to us as well. We need to offer choices and decision-making opportunities. So we need to let our learners to choose and make opportunities for them to be a decision maker. Okay, great. The next one, support them and praise them when necessary. So rather than just throwing out all those yay, perfects and goods, but really get that moment like you did this right. So well done, fantastic. Okay, thank you, Caner Hocam, Meis Hocam, Ece Hocam, Çıkmen Harun Hocam. I can see all these well nicely, and I can see Oktay Hocam. Thank you. Aslan Kayan Hocam, I can see your reaction as well. And reflection. We need to encourage reflection. Definitely. Okay. Now, I would like to share my own experience with this. Okay. Before I share mine, let me ask you, how good are you to reflect on your learning? Are you able to reflect on your own learning? Because this was something that took time for me. It could be either culturally, I mean, it could have its roots culturally because I was not really raised to reflect in my, education life. But it took me time to start reflecting on my own performance and how I did. So now it's a part of my cycle. So I think it's also good to teach our learners because they will understand, I did this very well. Or they will go like, I couldn't do this, but now I can because I know the reasons behind it. So it's not seen as a failure for them, but an experience to take lessons from. Definitely, which is a basic skill in our era. Yes, Oktay Hocam. Well, for me, it came a little bit later. I have to admit that I was not a very good student who had the opportunity or actually did reflect on my own learning. Okay, thank you for sharing all these ideas. Now, let's go to the top 10 tips and let's count down. Okay, so number 10. Definitely, in order to motivate our learners, we need to create that sense of belonging. Now, in face-to-face lessons, this seems to be easier to apply. But in online lessons, we need to create such an environment that they feel safe because they will need to participate. In order to participate, maybe to turn on their cameras, microphones, present something in front of the camera, they need to feel that they belong to this environment, to your classroom. And one of the best ways to do this is to establish routines, especially working with primary kids. They're not good at keeping track of time. So they can't say sometimes, especially with kindergarten, first grade, and second grade students, they can't go like, oh, the lesson started and we have 20 more minutes to go. So they need those clear-cut routines so they understand the lesson starts. So think about 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, or if you're teaching at university, maybe last week, how did you start your lesson just like last week or 2 weeks ago before the breaks? Or in general, how do you like to start your lessons? Okay, bell, good. So they understand that the lesson is starting. That's a nice idea. I remember a teacher now who used to have a bell going ching-a-ling-a-ling. I remember the sound. That was nice. Music, okay. Puppets, definitely. I mean, a helper in the classroom. Music on. Okay, asking how many points they give to their mood. Okay, so how do you feel? Okay. So a special good morning. Okay. The emoji of the day, that's nice. I mean, very, very 21st century skill, I would say, I don't know, jump with the emojis in their lives now. Okay, so private. Yes, like how are you? Okay, different signs with every well. Okay, songs with subtitles, definitely. So lots of different ideas to make they understand that now the lesson is starting. And the same actually goes with ending a lesson. So rather than saying, oops, okay, now it's 12:20 and we're gonna leave and your next lesson is gonna be mathematics, probably the same way we actually start a lesson. One of the things that I realized that helped my learners was telling them the objectives of that lesson or that day if I have many. So generally, I start by talking to my teachers about what we're going to do that week in general. And then specifically for the days, I go like, today we're going to do this, and we are going to do this, and you will be working on this. It really helps them, you know, to get them out from the dark. Yes, I'm not killing the curiosity here, but just telling them what we're going towards the end product is. So a nice way to start the lesson and maybe to end the lesson. So we were going to do this. How many of this did we do? Again, a reflection. So some ideas here, a song, a riddle, a brain teaser, chit chats. You actually said all of them. Homework check, I put it here on the list. Sometimes needed, let's be honest. But I want to ask you a brain teaser before we go on to the next slide, okay? Either you can turn on your cameras and microphones or the chat box. Here comes my first one. If you know the answer, you can put it in the chat box. What can you hold ever without touching or using your hands? Any ideas? So you're gonna hold something, hold a promise, okay? Anything else? Thank you, Alper Hocam. Hope, okay? Attention, all right? How about hold your breath? Okay, you can also hold your breath. So sometimes starting with a brain teaser, thank you, Ian Hocam. So sometimes starting with a brain teaser not only helps you to, you know, grab their attention, but also keep them thinking. And it's also a nice way if you're going to do vocabulary that they easily go into collocations like hold a meeting, hold an online lesson. Okay, hold your thoughts. Okay, lovely. One more, the second one, and then I promise I'm going to the number 9. Which word in English is 5 letters but read only with 1? Oh, I used to have a lot of problem writing this one. So it's a 5-letter word. Thank you, Ahmed Hocam. Q, okay, but only pronounced, we're read with 1, so Q. Thank you, Nigin Hocam. Thank you. Okay, thank you very much. So it's sometimes nice, okay, maybe not every day, to start with this. As they grow older, with, you know, and they move upwards, like 3rd grade, 4th grade, you can ask them to bring in one as well, okay? Number 9. Please put the learners in the driver's seat. Of course, be with them, be the co-pilot. But as we said, okay, make sure that you let your learners own the lesson. Because remember, in the agree and disagree part, we all said that we were going to help them personalize the lesson, ask them questions about how this fits into their life. If it's food, ask them what they like. They can interview their parents as well. If it's household objects, ask them to draw their houses, okay? Let them own the lesson. Ask them what they want to do. Now, I know that we have books and we have materials that we're going to teach off from, but sometimes I think we can add an authentic material by just making some adjustments. Let's say that your objective for that day was to do a reading lesson, and the objective was to teach reading for scanning and skimming. Okay, so as long as you cover that, why not have the learners do the reading in the book and then ask them a topic they would like to read about and just bring that text into the classroom and then use that as well. Now it's their choice. They wanted to read about technology. You brought the text about technology and go on with your objectives as well. Go on doing it, okay? Always something extra, but they are choosing it. So they pick what they're doing. Number 8. Thank you. Altun Arıkan Hocam says, I do that a lot. Sorry, you must understand the question. It's okay, Ian Hocam. Number 8 is always give them a reason and need to turn up. This means that we need to find a way to put the online lessons and the offline time, let's call it, I mean, the time that they spend outside your lesson until the next lesson is very valuable. We need to make sure that they do an activity there so that we give them a reason and they feel a part of a whole. How? These are all the activities that you do in your session. So in a 30-minute, 40-minute, 50-minute, 60-minute session, you do lots of activities. You keep your learners active. But as soon as they log out from Zoom, until the next lesson, we need to give them something to hold on to so that they actually are motivated to come back. They have a need, a meaningful need to come back. So perhaps in the asynchronous lesson, reading and taking notes could be one so they could share their ideas. But reading a text and then asking their own questions, I mean, bringing up their own questions and bringing them to the class would be a very good need for them. So read the text, but write 3 questions and bring them to the classroom. The same goes with audios and videos. Now, in this age, all the audios and videos in our course books, we are able to send them to our learners. Send them that, have them watch the video, maybe draw a reaction, okay? Maybe take a 30-second video about what they feel about the video, prepare questions for that, okay? Now, engaging in online discussions, how about like creating a classroom bulletin board or using Padded Wall, and a tool that the learners come together outside the online lesson as well. Once again, a need for them to communicate and talk about the lesson, keep them going, okay? Also, especially with primary and secondary kids, research and explore is one of the things they like. At the moment, yes, on Saturdays and Sundays, our students are not able to go outside. But what they could do is maybe during the week when they do, you can prepare charts for them. This especially applies for clear lessons. You know, let's say you did a lesson about shapes and colors. Give them a chart with checklists and send them the worksheet so that during the week when they go outside, they can tick what they see. Aha, I see a gray stone, it's oval. Okay, I see a triangle, it was like this. So they can actually explore outside. Like, look at the trees. Oh, look at the trunk of the tree. Okay, so it's like this and it's very tall. So they can record all of these. Or if you did, let's say, household objects at their houses, once again, tell them to have a checklist. So tick, we have a purple sofa. Yes, no's, and yes, no's. So they are actually doing research and exploration. At the weekends, well, we're all stuck at home. Why not have the kids sit in front of a window and just record what's going outside? With older kids, you can especially assign a task for that, okay? So maybe at the moment, I'm sitting in front of the window and actually I can see some cars and I can see some people. So I can report this back using past tense. So I saw a man, okay, who ran. Okay, a man ran. 2 women walked across the street, okay? A car just passed by. Or present continuous tense. The birds are chirping, the sun is not shining at the moment, okay? So they're actually practicing something outside your lesson, but they need to bring it into the online lesson. So you actually combine these two, okay? Now, some ideas that we talked about, especially for primary, okay? Coloring helps in offline time, like color the objects you have, tick the foods you like, interview your family members. If they don't know how to write very well, maybe circling and ticking. So they're actually working with people at home. And for secondary, okay, prepare a weekly planner. If you teach them chores, you can have them place the chores on the weekly planner and they can report back to you, okay? Write your reaction. I like this text because, I didn't like this text because, not only about true, falses, and vocabularies, perhaps, as we said, you know, sitting in front of the window, looking outside, what's happening, reporting back. So the key is giving them a meaningful task so that they're motivated to come back. They have a reason to come back to your session, okay? Now, let's continue. And interviewing family members. KWL charts work very well in all levels, okay? Starting from maybe primary, definitely from primary to university as well. Give them this chart for maybe 2 days, 3 days, okay? So you're working on a topic and that unit topic is, let's say, health, okay? Healthy lifestyles. First, they start by completing in the first part what they know. I'm pretty sure you all use this in your lessons. And then what they want to know. When the unit finishes, let them to take out this chart again and write down what they have learned from this unit. It's a nice way to, one, assess how much they have learned and how much they have followed your lesson, because they can also put down the language that they have learned and the ideas they have learned. And it makes a whole for them. This is what I knew, this is what I wanted to know, and this is what I learned. So it's like hitting two birds with one stone as well. Okay. Number 7 is showtime. Okay. Anything, as long as you have a safe environment in online lessons and in face-to-face classes, designing a poster and talking about it, finding about interesting facts, so letting them wander around, go online, prepare and deliver presentations. Let's say the topic is world records, okay? Calculating, I know that we have analytical students, so they can find out some numerical information for you, like how many calories is, swimming, walking, cooking, cleaning. If my son, who is 2-year-old in the future, would do such an activity, would probably always calculate how many calories does ironing burn, sweeping burn, cooking burn, and all that stuff. Okay, so they can actually look at those as well. Preparing a short video, okay, and sending it to you, and then you can share it with the classroom. The little ones like to act out stories in front of the cameras. They actually like it. They change their voices, but you have to model these for them. Okay, the key point is to model. Take a video, show it to them, act out a story, use your voice, perform a dialogue. If you can with someone, that will be very nice as well. Okay, number 6, we're almost there, and I have 6 minutes, so I think I'm going to fit all of this. Keep them active, definitely. Songs with action, they work. And Play Simon Says works very well both in online lessons and face-to-face, especially if you have a very intense grammar lesson that day. So you have been teaching and they did some activities, but you have 30 minutes. Maybe after 15, 20 minutes, you can just, Play Simon Says, just as a brain break for them to standing up and sitting down. So that would help them be active as well. Or if you have done a reading lesson, a listening lesson, or simply a part of the lesson where you want them to react with true, false, and agree, disagree, you can have them stand up and sit down. So if it's true, stand up. If it's false, sit down. So they're moving, they're thinking, they're energized. Okay. Another variation for this is to use A4 size paper. So on one side, they can write agree. On the other side, they can write disagree. With the little ones, they can draw a happy face and an unhappy face to show that, okay. So for example, you are showing for primary, first grade and second grade, you're showing a picture about household objects and prepositions maybe, and you're saying there is a book on the sofa, but there isn't, so they can all, show their cards. So they're actually moving with the unhappy face, or if they want to write, they can show like disagree as well. So this is a nice variation. So not always using the chat box, but such activities would help energize and motivate your learners. Now, using the environment, I like this one a lot. Freeze game or not laughing challenge are their favorites as well. Thank you, Duygu Erdoğan, for sharing this. Definitely, I will put it in my next session. Thank you for sharing. I mean, your feedback is invaluable. Now, the environment, I have seen this work with university, adults, primary, secondary, kindergarten, all of them. Now, using their environment, unfortunately, is their homes. So why not have the kids walk around and come back into the screen? Grades 3, 4, and upwards, you can have them use post-its. Let's say you're teaching adjectives and they write the word creative on the post-it. So they can, in their room or in their houses, okay, as long as the parents let them, and I do think they would, walk around the house and find something that they can associate with the adjective creative. Maybe it's a painting, so they stick it on the painting, okay? So they actually like this. They're walking around and coming back. You can play show me something activities. I know that you are, the cameras are off now, so I'm not going to try it with you guys, but I would probably play like show me something color, like show me something pink. So they would have to, look around for something pink and, I got something pink. Or you could say, show me your favorite food. So they would have to go to the kitchen and bring their favorite food, okay? So some things that you could play with them is this. So it's not only like household objects, food, fruits, okay? But you can tell them to bring objects to your lesson, like lexical sets. They can bring a couple of their favorite toys, and you can actually tell them to teach prepositions of places that day. You know, my car is on this, or it's next to this. And you can also work on thinking skills. Show me something you read, you can read. So they bring a book and they can say, well, my mother reads it with higher levels. I don't, but I want to read this. So it's going to give you that chit chat moment and to learn about your students as well. Okay, so number 4, drawing dictation. Once again, one of my favorites. Thank you. Drawing dictation is where the learners, you can either read them and they can draw, or vice versa. Okay, works perfectly well with prepositions of place, likes and dislikes, present continuous tense. Read a story, ask them to draw, and then they have to show it. Past tense, draw a timeline, ask them to put the activities there. It works perfectly well with kids because you know that doodling is something that helps us remember. So they're thinking and they're putting it into an image. So it's going to help them remember more. And it's also checking of understanding, one of the easiest ways of checking of understanding. And you can also let learners do it as well. Okay. Number 3, classification games. Either you can use papers once again, or color coding with younger ones. So adjectives and adverbs, right? Adjective on one side, adverb on the other side. Again, you know, it's a nice way to motivate them to start a lesson, because you can do your revision like that, okay? Grades 1 and 2, they like color coding. If it's in household objects, show the red part. If it's a transportation vehicle, then show the yellow part, okay? So they also like that. Let's go to number 2, competitions. All these are always goodies. So don't forget to use bingos in online lessons as well. You can either send the material to them, or very easily have your learners just draw the grids and put the items there and easily play bingos, both in online lessons and offline lessons. And I do think that kids love it, okay? And number 1, the final one, is ours. It's positive reinforcement and rapport. Now, in order to do all of these 9 things, we have to be there, supportive, giving positive reinforcement, and trying to create a good rapport. I know this year has been a bit tough because we did not get to see them as much as we wanted, and hopefully we will. But I do believe that in online lessons, we are, as teachers, are capable of doing this because we have achieved a lot this year, okay? So thank you very much to put everything here, okay? So we basically talked about these. So the teacher, we need to be modeling our excitement as well, and curiosity, okay? And helping students to find their intrinsic motivation. You said this, making things fun, giving students a sense of control, praise when they're earned, know your learners, change your scenery, okay? Allow group work. And the right top is the most important one, create a threat-free environment. So before I finish, thank you very much, Erhan Hocam. Which ideas from the session can you take into your classroom? Anything that you think would work in your context, just one idea. So the papers would work, music would work, drawing dictation would work. Top 10 tips. Thank you very much, all of them. It's lovely to see that you got them. So my last final word is, this is my motto: be the person you needed when you were younger. Okay, this is how I'm trying to be. So I hope to see you guys again. And I would like to thank the ITK family for letting me a part of your conference. Thank you very much.